Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chasing, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay ready. 2 vets in the zone, keep the pressure real heavy. Big hits, big plays, yeah, we breaking it down. Truth rings in your speakers, every word is the crown. From the north side hustle to that southern flame. Midwest grind, west coast of the game. Sports talk kings, yeah, we wear that crown. Turn it up, let them know it's about to go down. Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chaser, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout.
It's about to go down.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the sounds of Sports Report Disorder. And sports fans, we got a lot to get to tonight. You know, we got to recap the Super Bowl, get into some off the field stuff. You know, we're gonna get into some NBA talk, and of course, North Dakota State is the newest member of the Mountain West Conference. Football only, of course, but he is Mr. Logical. I am 2-5. We are everywhere that you get your podcasts. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things, do all the good things. Liquid death in hand. So let's get right to it. Mr. Logical. So, the other night, I put my CPAP on. I fell asleep. And I got into a good groove. Yeah, there you go. I got into a good groove. You know what I'm saying? I saw Lindsey Vonn in my head. And then as I rolled a little bit, I heard this scream. So I woke up to investigate to see what it was. It was Drake May! What the hell happened in Santa Clara?
Yo, honestly, I picked Seattle because I thought the defense was going to be able to outperform the offense that hadn't performed that well in the recent weeks. I just figured, like, it would be unlikely that you would find your groove after playing 3 tough defenses when you had to play the toughest one as your 4th game. So I figured, like, they would be stymied. I was talking about this when I was watching the game. I think teams come out with that scripted 15, and it's all very conservative.
Okay.
And then if you don't get a couple of those first downs, now you're 2-3 drives in before you get to your 12th or 13th play. That's not a good groove. I figured New England, I don't know if they viewed themselves as the underdog. I thought they were, and I thought they were a big underdog in my personal opinion. I felt like they should have just kind of gone for it. Play action, big deep shot, like just really, because Seattle did the same thing, but Seattle had the defense that they assumed probably would turn over Drake May, because Drake May had a lot of sacks in this playoff run. I think he got sacked like 20 times.
21.
A lot of fumbles. Yep. You know, just he was getting hit a lot. So if you're looking at the film, if you're Seattle's defensive coordinator or you Mike McDonald, you're just looking at like, you know what? We think we can get to him so we can come out conservative on offense because we are one DeMarcus Lawrence, you know, swim move away from causing a fumble. You know, I just believe they had that kind of confidence. So they came out, they play a little tight as well, because you don't want to give a team like that. You don't want to do what Denver did. You don't want to do what them did when you just give them the ball inside the 15-yard line, and now everything in the playbook is open and it's just basically backyard football, and you're gonna get 45 feet with that, you know, with a young quarterback and all the options you have, you know, holdings and all the things that could happen after a big momentum turnover. I think Seattle just didn't want to give it to him, but New England just couldn't get in the groove. He just couldn't get in the groove. And when it was desperation time, like that one pass he threw to Mac Hollins between 5 guys. It was complete, but it was desperation time. So, like, he's going to cross in there somewhere. So he just dropped
still
it.
One of the best throws of the season, though.
Yeah.
So the other couple of weeks ago, we did our award picks. And we introduced the category of the new kid on the block. This was going to be the player that we might not have noticed during the season, but, or before the season. And then as the season, I'm adding Craig Woodson to my list. He was the positive of the Patriots. Him and Christian Gonzalez.
Lost like the first couple of drives, yeah.
Yeah, and Christian Gonzalez probably had the best game of his career. They had JSN in a cage. He finished with 4 catches, 27 yards. I know he had the concussion and everything, but,
Arnold drops that first one in. If he just gets a half second more to get a little bit more air under that, JCN scores a 80-something yard touchdown probably because he was behind everybody.
And so there was a couple of things that stood out to me because, of course, Josh McDaniels won the Assistant of the Year. A lot of people, including our, good buddy Dallas Mike, was in here to tell us about how Josh McDaniels had been dialing it up and everything. So as I was watching the game, I'm a big proponent of get your playmakers the ball in spaces that they can make plays. So this is what I was thinking. We were talking about Roger Craig last week and how he set that template for the CMCs of the world and people like that. And I was like, why don't they put Travion Henderson in the slot? Why don't they put him in the slot and just make the defense think about something? Even if you don't throw him the ball per se, just have him line up every so often. Because as you've been teaching me about these cover 4s and cover 6s and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've been looking at this and I'm like, hey, even I could tell that the Patriots stayed in 11 personnel way too long. You know what I mean? And, so Seattle was getting there too much for you to not potentially put that second tight end in. And that's where the game was lost because we talk about adjustments. And sometimes that's a buzzword. A lot of fans can't really tell what the adjustments were. You just saw that your team played better. But the Patriots never addressed the fact that Seattle was just getting there whenever they wanted to.
Well, that's because the thing that plagued New England all year long was that they were a scrappy team, but they weren't playing with the number 1 wide receiver. They don't have a JSN. They don't have a Puka. They don't have a hell. I don't even think they have a guy as
they don't even got a Shaheed.
It's like as Jawan Jennings or any one of those guys. I think they were just solid in their foundation. They played a 4th place schedule. And I think a lot of like I said, the awards. I don't know how Josh McDaniels got Assistant of the Year. I get that the win flip, but I don't know. I just feel like I just didn't feel like he was really dialing it up. Because New England has a lot of big plays on the year. You weren't expecting anybody in the pass game to make big plays. We didn't discuss New England's wide receivers as big play threats in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So that was one thing we just knew. You talk about constantly how they don't use Travion Henderson enough, and he's probably like the biggest weapon. I just felt like Seattle just knew we keep him in the box. We got Mac Hollins is probably like their biggest, speediest guy. But other than that, there's no one that needs to get double teamed. There's no one you need to account for. And if we can get to him, obviously they had the rookies on the left side. Like I said, they played rookie left side all year long.
Right.
So they played well enough to win the amount of games they did. It's just Seattle was deliberate in attacking that side of the line. The blind side of the quarterback makes him jumpy, makes him antsy. So even if he probably had a good throw he could make, those guys were getting beat on his blind side so often that he had to double check. And I think that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, and there was a play.
You're worried about getting hit from behind. Pause.
Yeah, there was a play where shortly after New England scored their touchdown and should have went for 2, but they didn't. They got to stop. They got the ball back. They were in their own territory, like close to the end zone. I think they were at like the 5 or so. Seattle sent the house. In just a half a second, Hunter Henry was so wide open, and Drake May just couldn't get the ball there. That one play changes the whole game if they connect on that. And, Sam Darnold had his worst game of the season, 19 of 38, 202 yards, and he had that touchdown pass to Barner. But outside of that, Sam Darnold missed a lot of open receivers, missed a lot of, I won't call them routine plays, but plays that somebody of his stature should make. So I got my defensive battle that I wanted in the first half.
Yeah, I was texting you, and I was telling everybody here, I'm like, Mike's loving this. I'm like, he's.
I was loving it. Yeah. So now
it was good because it's like it kind of went with my prediction of like Seattle's defense kind of being dominant. I didn't think New England was going to shut them down the way they did.
Right. Well, a lot of times when
people,
people
was a good defensive game.
Well, a lot of times when people complain about these games like this, it's because it's bad. Guys dropping passes, fumbles, all that kind of stuff. No, these two defenses were just playing lights out. And if you're a football fan, I just don't understand how that doesn't appeal to you. But anyway, so let's talk about the MVP. Kenneth Walker, the first Super Bowl MVP running back since who?
I don't know. Walter Payton?
Since Terrell Davis. Yeah. Might as well be Walter Payton, right?
They don't get that award a lot.
No, they don't get that award a lot. I thought Willie Parker had a case for it, for the Steelers, but
Hines Ward to the touchdown pass that game, right?
Yeah. So, do you think they got it right?
Absolutely. You could have made the game started, and I had the DraftKings up. Shout out to DraftKings, who once again, listen. I get it. Social media. This is what you do. Why they send me if you're having a gambling problem, email on Saturday night? I had logged on the DraftKings in a month. I'm like, damn well y'all had that thing timed up to send me this message Saturday night. Like, hey, the Super Bowl's tomorrow. But if you have the gambling problem, just, let us know. I'm like, come on. But I still put up the DraftKings. So at first when I looked it up, I couldn't find the MVP tab. And I just, I just kept watching the game. So then when I was looking, I was like, well, third quarter, I think the odds were Kenneth Walker third, because I remember seeing a stat in the second quarter. He already had like 70 yards rushing. He had like 2 big runs. He was up like 72 yards. I was like, he throws a touchdown and he's going to be MVP. So that's when I pulled up the app. I just couldn't find the tab. And then when I saw it again later, his odds were like he was going to win it. But it was the third, and I was like, well, Sam Darnold throws a couple of touchdown passes. Like, he catches a little fire. They lean quarterback. So I bet on the quarterback, and then the kicker had all the points. So I bet on the kicker. But they got it right. I just figured that something herky-jerky would happen. Like the last time Seattle won it, I thought it was Russell Wilson, but was it Malcolm? What was his name? The linebacker that had the interception, the tipped interception he took back for a touchdown.
Was it Wilson? Was it?
No, Malcolm Smith or something like that. I can't remember. It was a linebacker. So I thought Russell Wilson was going to get the MVP that game.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because the game was 43-8. So it was total domination by the defense as
he won Super Bowl MVP. Yeah.
Yeah. So when he made that play, I think they were already up like 20-something. So it was like, how is that the MVP play when it was a tip? You just caught it and ran it back. So I thought Russell Wilson just played a little better. So I just know that sometimes they're kind of, they lean quarterback. But yeah, I think they got it right. He was setting the tempo. He made New England change their defense. Like how you were saying, you thought New England was in the wrong protections and the wrong personnel. They couldn't get another player to take pressure off of Drake May, whereas Sam Darnold, you said, went 19 for 38. If you don't have a good run game with that, you normally don't have a good run game when you go 19 for 38, right? Because you look like, okay, you look predictable. First and second down, you're running because you're passing so poorly. So the fact that he got those 2 big runs, he ran with such patience, reminds me of Le'Veon Bell, and he runs with such great balance and power. I'm just glad he got to put on a show on the biggest stage. His personality could use a little work. I need a little bit more excitement out of you. Like, Super Bowl MVP, he just was like, was glad to get the ball and just run it. My team and my dad got to see me. It's like, dog, did Dad get to see you win Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah, I was so sad when that touchdown got called back, and because he was looking like the Kenneth Walker that ran for 197 yards and scored 5 touchdowns against Michigan. That's what was coming to my mind. But the craziest stat of the whole Super Bowl for me is that Myers outscored the Patriots by himself. He broke the record for points in the Super Bowl. 17-13, he would have beat the Patriots by himself. And
the punter. Let's shout out the Seattle special teams. The punter was pinning them deep every single punt. I was like, and they kept trying to describe like the way he punts it and how it's hard to catch. And I forgot one of the commentators was like, "You're a punt returner. Just catch the football." It's like no matter how he kicks it, just catch it. But just the way it was bouncing. So the special teams was pretty solid.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, when Kansas City played San Francisco in the Super Bowl, my thought was Chris Jones didn't have the stats, but the impact that he had on that game, him and McDuffie, was MVP worthy.
Brock Purdy throws that touchdown to Brandon Ayuk if he is not running for his life from Chris Jones on that play. He was wide open.
So in this game, I say choose one. Either Devin Witherspoon or Derek Hall. Derek Hall had the 2 sacks, including that strip that got returned. And the only reason that I bring them up as Super Bowl MVPs is because even though Kenneth Walker was working, Seattle wasn't scoring early. That came later, and the defense was playing at that level the whole game. So that's why I don't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem if one of those 2 won the Super Bowl MVP. I understand why Kenneth Walker won it. But, but yeah, that's how it is. But, hey, free agency, Seattle's got Kenneth Walker as a free agent. Reek Woolen is a free agent. Shaheed is a free agent. Kobe Bryant is a free agent. Josh Jobe is a free agent, amongst others. But those are the main ones. So, if they could keep, a couple of those, I imagine they're not going to let Walker go.
You named about 6 names. They're probably going to keep 2, and the other 4 are going to get Super Bowl champion stimulus boost on their contract.
Yeah. I'm taxing you.
That's like kind of like the byproduct of what happens to good teams. You make it to a certain distance, either you're paying your guys, or the Raiders are going to pay your guy, or the Jets are going to pay your guy. Like somebody's going to pay your guy. So either you do it or somebody else is going to give them that extra $8 million guarantee that they want to come to that team.
Yeah. And poor Drake May, he's not getting any of the Justin Herbert excuses. People are just going in on how bad he played and, how he's young and he wasn't ready for the moment. No, that defense was just in his face.
It's only so much you can do. When you are at 2.5 seconds, you're on your second read, and there's 2 guys in the opposing jerseys at your feet.
Yeah, poor Will Campbell, man. Will Campbell got beat up all night. And, there was one sack. It wasn't Will Campbell, but there was one sack where Seattle took the lineman and put him into Drake May. like both of y'all going down.
It was one play where the play got blown dead and he got pushed back into Drake May. And Drake May was standing, and I was looking like, whoa, that could have been bad because he was definitely come on now. Come on, Michaela.
Yeah, so congrats to the Seahawks.
Sorry, I'm just watching the downhill.
Yeah, I'm watching Illinois and Wisconsin right now. I've been wanting to see Keaton Wagler play, so this is my first chance to get to see the Illini this year. But so congrats to the Seahawks. And Mike McDonald in year 2. It was funny. I can't even take credit for this, but El Residente made this point to me the other night. So the Ravens had Mike McDonald in-house. And you fired John Harbaugh anyway 2 years later after you let Mike McDonald out the building. Just crazy how that would time in.
That was the MVP season. I mean, I think it's even more crazy that Falcons interviewed Vrabel and McDonald.
Right.
And hired Raheem Morris.
Right. So, yeah, but speaking of the Falcons, let's go off the field for a minute, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, James Pearce, found himself in a situation this weekend. He and his girlfriend, Rakia Jackson of the LA Sparks, WNBA, apparently they broke up. She broke up with him. And I guess he started harassing her, calling her from other people's phones. She's driving on the road and he's behind her. Long story short, he gets arrested. And now people are wondering if he's done irreparable damage to his career.
Career, no.
Well, yeah, because the
2027 season, yes. Yeah. At a minimum, I'm thinking there was the alleged report that he was tough to handle at Tennessee, almost uncoachable. And then there was counter conversations throughout the year. I literally saw a post last week. A Falcons fan said he met this tall young man in the elevator. He told him, well, yeah, I got drafted in the first round. I played for the Atlanta Falcons. He was like, couldn't have been a better human. And he was praising him. And then literally this happened like a few days after I saw that post. Just based off of the arrest, the long list of charges, the NFL is going to sit him down for, we got 17 games.
I say 6 games, maybe 8.
At least 6. So anywhere from 6 to 8. So we'll call it 6. So he's missing a third of next season. Just off of, even before any investigation. So even if the investigation, he doesn't go to court until, September or whatever the case may be.
Right.
He's still going to probably miss those 6 games. And then if he gets an actual punishment from like an actual criminal charge, he gets a charge there, that's going to be more time. So that's the problem. And then this is the NFL. It's not for long. Even with that talent, I know talent versus tolerance, but we can't can't hold a spot for you for 2 years.
Right. So to back up, say for a second, the charges, are, let me see here. I had it up here for a second. Here we go. So the charges, are just anything that you could think of, so you got, he resisted arrest, first of all, too, on top of all that.
Well, resisting arrest is kind of a byproduct when you get attacked by multiple police officers. They always going to say you're resisting arrest. They normally drop that charge.
Well, he was fleeing is the problem, that's why that kind of happened.
They rolled up on him. I think he was outside of his car, near her car. And when they went to tackle him, he fought off the police. It was 7 police officers. So that's when they get you with assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, resisting lawful, or basically is if you yank your hand away and the officer says your fingertip hit his hand, he can get you for assaulting a police officer, resisting arrest, and everything else. Then they just drop all the other stuff. They police some other stuff down. But I think the nature of the behavior is dog, you crashed a Lamborghini purposely into another vehicle that your ex-girlfriend was in because she wouldn't talk to you anymore.
Yeah, so
that's a hard sell.
So he got 5 felonies total. 5 felony charges. They include fleeing the police. Obviously there was the domestic dispute. He 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and
That's
aggravated
vehicle.
stalking.
That's calling from all those random numbers and hitting with his car.
Yeah, so 5 felonies total. And this was a guy that just a couple weeks ago we were talking about, should he be rookie of the year too? And coming out of college, there was some talk about his attitude, some of his behavior that a lot of
They
times
kept
people
it
said were
hush hush
overblown.
until after the college football playoff game. I'm just putting that out there. They didn't
Of
say
course.
shit until after they got beat by Ohio State. Now all of a sudden he's hard to coach.
Of course,
But
that's
he was
just how
out
it
there
works.
trying to sack Will Howard.
But this is one of those situations where a lot of fans are going to say, the NFL's doing too much. The punishment is too harsh. He put himself in this situation. There's nobody to blame in this situation but himself.
Because Rashee Rice got 6.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Let me think of some other suspensions for Tom Brady got 4 for deflate gates.
Roethlisberger got 4.
Some guys involved domestic violence. They got between 4 and 6 post.
Well, the NFL's already showed that you could come back from hurting women. Because they was going to let Ray Rice back until the public got the video.
No, Ray Rice wasn't going to come back because he averaged 3.2 yards a carry the year before.
Well, no, but the NFL had saw the
he
video. The NFL had already saw the video, and I guess the Ravens were going to suspend him. Yeah, the Ravens were going to suspend him for 2 games as a team punishment. And then the video, somebody got a hold of the video and it leaked. And that's when the NFL
because that hotel went bankrupt. That's an AC. They
right, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think if that video doesn't leak, I'm not sure.
But that's what allowed him to keep his 2 games, because in sworn statements, the Ravens leadership and I believe the NFL, I don't know if they saw the video, but he told them exactly what happened. So they suspended him for the 2 games. And then when the video came out and then the public saw the video,
the public
they
reacted.
extended. And then they were like, well, did he tell you exactly what happened? It was like, yes, he was transparent, but blah, 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 blah. Public outrage. And then
I still don't even know what happened with that kicker from the Giants.
I think he got 1 game and then he might have came back.
He was on they had him on, I know he was on the commissioner's list. Yeah.
Yeah, him, Greg Hardy, all those guys.
Yeah.
So, more than likely, James Pearce will find himself on one of these lists. 6 games. I mean, it's just granted, innocent till proven guilty. But if you deliberately crashed your vehicle into her vehicle, and that's accounted for, I believe she called the police from her vehicle, and then they showed up, and then you're fighting with the police, and there's video footage of it. I know they're telling us a lot of things now that you see. Don't believe what you see, believe what I tell you. That's a new mantra. A third percentage of our nation. I'm just telling you this: the NFL suspends people for 4 to 6 games for off the field incidents,
right?
Involving a woman this popular, another league's professional athlete that might throw another couple of games on it.
Right.
So that's something you might want to factor in as well, because I imagine that that could factor into it as well.
Yeah. Well, you might win some.
That's why I got the cross on. It's like I got the X, because Atlanta just got a pass rush, and I know ultimately he's a man first before he's a player, and I shouldn't be concerned with the stats of my favorite team, because obviously something's going on that he needs to address within himself that created that scenario.
Right.
I don't obviously we don't know what transpired between the 2 of them or how long it's been going on, but whatever it was, it created in a scenario where he felt like that was an option or that was the best option. So whatever that is, get that resolved, get that figured out, and come back strong after your really, really good rookie year. It's just unfortunate that as a team, you thought you had something, and now you're like, like I said, it's not for long. I don't know how much teams really. You have a new regime, So you got a new coach, new GM, new president. Arthur Blank's already dealt with, some criminal stuff before. And yes, everyone is embracing Michael Vick now, but it took a long time to like get to that. So I'm not saying it's on that level.
And he hasn't done what Michael Vick has done in this league either. Like, I mean, he had a great season for a rookie, but but yeah, so Mr. Logical. I am an NBA team, 9-2 in my last 11 games. Who am I?
You are the Charlotte Hornets.
I am the Charlotte Hornets, and I'm restoring the feeling because last night Musa Diabute and Jalen Duren were bringing back the bad boy days. They have been going up and down the court all game. They have been doing some shoving, like some bump. You play basketball, you get somebody with the extra bump, you hit them with a shoulder or two. They were doing that throughout the course of the game. And then on this particular play, hard foul, you know what I mean? Like nothing that you wouldn't see in the playoffs, you know what I mean? And I guess Duren took exception to it. They went face to face, then it went palm to face, and then all of a sudden it looked like the Knicks and Nuggets from Carmelo's day. And then of course, from the bench at the other end of the court comes in the Ultimate Warrior.
Absolutely. Coming
that
in shaking the rope.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you right now,
for a fight.
And I know I shouldn't joke about James Pearce, but Isaiah Stewart would have beat him in the 40 right there. Like he came off that bench,
that man
ready to go
for a fight ever since they wouldn't let him fight LeBron.
Well, he already punched my guy. He already punched Drew Eubanks in the tunnel up in Phoenix, and then of course there was the LeBron thing.
Court spotlight, show people I have hands. I'm like, dog, you play basketball. You see Duncan Robinson? My favorite part.
Duncan Robinson.
My favorite part. My absolute 100% as a 45.
I'm sure he said the N-word in his head too.
No, he could have said it out loud, and I would have been like, you know what? I'm feeling him because he's like, I ain't come here for this shit. I could have stayed in Miami. At least I get South Beach, but I can just see it in his head like I'm too old for this. He didn't even try to break it. Like I'm not trying to break it up.
Right. So then Stu gets down there, and then Miles Bridges takes a swipe at him. He grabs Miles Bridges' hair. And he's trying to swing and all this kind of stuff, and then everybody finally gets in between them, which prompted, them to get on Twitter, of course, X, and Miles Bridges wants his fair one, and then Beef Stew said, "Bring it to the octagon. I take y'all on 2-on-1," and I believe him.
I mean, listen, I think that should be a viable means of sorting your problems out. Like, get it sanctioned, get it insured, and get in the ring. I think normal people on a day-to-day basis, I think you should be able to fight your coworker if you need to. Like, listen, man, meet me at the octagon. Everyone signs off on it. It's like a duel. You get knocked out, you can't sue me.
So how many games does Beef Stew get? Like, forget everybody else. How many games does he get?
Was he active?
I don't think he was.
He was wearing a uniform.
So
if he was active, that's automatically a game for leaving the bench area.
Right.
A factor in his history, I'm going to say 5 off of history.
Okay.
And the total of 5. I'm gonna say 5 for throwing a couple of So I'm gonna say
played 11 minutes.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna be conservative and say 10 games, but it wouldn't shock me if it's. Let me try to get the standings. See how many games they have left. So that's Detroit. So that's 40. 50.
Well, we got the All-Star break this weekend.
So they got 30 games left. It wouldn't surprise me if they slid him 15. I say 12. Let's go 12.
Okay. You know what's crazy?
He gets 12. Bridges probably get 12. I think Duren gets like 2. The other dude probably gets 2 because it was a shove, and I think Duren because he backed up. Like, given that he backed up and
He
everything.
looked like he had
else,
some boxing going on. He was weaving a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
he just was like, I can't throw a punch because I know that's an automatic whatever. I think he just realized.
Yeah, I think both of them
getting out of hand.
I think both of them
get
get one. I think they get one, and then
I think they get two because of what everything that transpired afterwards. I think they get one if it's just a two of them and need to be broken up.
Yeah,
I think they get two because everybody else went 8 on the back end.
Yeah, so I mentioned the Hornets, 9-2 in their last 11, and they're still 10th in the East after all of that. It's that time of year, Mr. Logical. The tank is on. So, the Utah Jazz, our beloved Jazz, they went on this they went on this trade spree. I was talking the other day about how they're trying to get this big lineup going. So on Sunday, they had a 17-point lead against the Orlando Magic. And they sat everybody down in the fourth quarter, basically, and lost that game. Then in their next game, they sat Nurkic, Lowry, and Jaren Jackson the whole fourth quarter. Now, the good news there is that they won somehow. But what are they doing?
They're tanking for AJ.
They because at this point, obviously I'm just going off the standings right now. Obviously, we don't have the lottery balls. The Pelicans, the Kings are the worst team in the league. You know what I mean? They need the number one pick badly because they decided to come into this season with their crazy roster. They brought in Russell Westbrook. They didn't get rid of and still haven't got rid of LaVine or DeRozan. They got DeMontes taking up space, frustrated. So they're definitely tanking. They
should have made that move to get rid of him, but they probably didn't want somebody to come in there motivated and score. They wanted this grown-up guy that's going to be like, hey, my toe hurts, I'm not playing tonight. They're like, all right, cool, no problem. Stay home.
The Pelicans are just bad. I don't think they're tanking per se in the traditional sense. They're just bad, and they're playing rookies. Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears getting a lot of minutes. So, Zion's been in and out the lineup. So I'm not going to call that a tank per se. The Wizards have shut down Anthony Davis, which is probably a good thing, but you shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? And then and obviously the Hornets aren't tanking. The Pacers aren't tanking because, they don't have Hallie. So I won't accuse them. I won't accuse them of tanking because they don't have.
They should be a little better than 13-40 though.
Yeah, Brooklyn is bad.
You're missing one guy, and granted, some other guys, but I'm like, Halliburton was averaging like 16-9. Like, he won. He might have been closer to 20. He went out here SGA style.
Yeah,
like you should be better than 13-40 when you just were in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, Brooklyn's not tanking. They're just bad. If they were tanking, then they probably would have traded Michael Porter Jr., but you don't have to because you're that bad. And look at where Cam Thomas ended up. He ended up with the Bucks.
Yeah, because that's a lateral move. I think he just wants to just shoot the rock. I think he just wants to go and shoot the rock as much as he wants. Well, he should have gone to Boston if that's the case. Because he could have come up with the second unit and shot 8 threes a quarter if he wanted.
Yeah, he only played 13 minutes and went 1 for 5. But you said a word there that I want to bring back. You said the word Boston. Did you hear that Jason Tatum is out here practicing?
Practice? He's been doing a lot of, I've seen a lot of videos of him doing stuff I don't think people should be able to do 4, 5, 6 months after an Achilles tear. Like, he was shooting and doing spin moves a couple of months ago, and he got injured May.
Yeah,
he tore his Achilles in May, and I don't know if whatever tear you get, it's the same repair surgery, because I saw a little computer simulation recreation of how they do it, how they reattach it, and then they pull it down the bottom of your foot and screw it in, and it's this whole process why you can't barely move. So yeah, I don't know if I rush him back. I mean, if you can wait, because if you're Boston, you should feel safe first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's mid-April, get you to about, let's say, the 20th. After the play-in. So after that series over, you're probably with the 20th, 25th April, something like that.
Yeah.
Before the second round starts. So if you can get him as close as you can to a year from injury, or even if you want to use surgery date, like the closest you can get him to that, I would go with that. You can get 5-on-5 practice, but as far as like game, I'm waiting till the playoffs start, because he can perform. It's not like he doesn't know the play.
I don't think you want to start. I don't think you want to have his first game be a playoff game. So
against
probably Philly
Magic.
it would be Philly if it was today.
Yeah.
But I think that so from what I read, he's practicing with the Maine Celtics, who used to be the Red Claws of the G League. And I guess he'll be going back and forth to some degree between them and the Celtics. But here's the question. If he does come back, do we got to recalibrate and put Boston in the NBA Finals?
You got to make him the favorite, because if they're doing all this without yes, Boston has Jaylen Brown, and they have a squad of guys that play the brand of basketball that works for Boston. Look at the Pacers without Halliburton. Grant, like I said, other guys missed time too, but they didn't look good from the beginning of the year before guys really had time to get injured. Like they looked like they were going to get one of these lottery balls from the beginning of the year.
Right.
So look what Boston's able to do without Tatum. He fits well, and it's not like you have to work him in. Let me think. Like when LeBron comes back from injury, things change.
Like your whole offense changes.
A lot of things it flows differently. When Luka comes back, it flows differently. SGA flows differently. But with Jason, the ball might stop with him a few possessions, but ultimately the Boston pick and pop, swing back, swing, shoot the three is the style they want to play.
Yeah, and they went and got
to take a 2-point jump shot. He just calls that play. They run it that one possession, the next possession up, swing, shoot the three.
And they went and got Vucevic, which is another big man that'll spread the floor, so he'll have room to operate. He's not going to be. It's not going to be congested where he's trying to work at. So on top of that, how about James Harden? A lot of people were, upset and talking bad because his first game, they had a close game. I think it was with the Kings. And then last night against the Nuggets, he came through, late shot in the fourth quarter, that kind of put the Cavs up so Donovan Mitchell could close it out. He had a bunch of assists in the fourth quarter. This is what I was expecting. You know what I mean? And granted, it's only been 2 games, so I'm not taking a victory lap or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what I saw last night is what I was expecting, where I'm not telling you to come out and I need 31 points from you. Just do something timely, whether it's a pass or a shot, and keep us grounded. Keep the offense moving, keep it flowing, and don't let us, stagnate. And I think that's what he's brought in to do. So I'm liking the Cavs,
So went 10 for 16 with 22 points.
Yeah, and a lot of that is James Harden. You know what I mean? Look at those big men that play with him. Like Dwight Howard was a big old monster with those lobs, and James Harden made Clint Capella look good. So this is what he does. So it's early, but I just wanted to point that out because we are headed to the All-Star break this weekend. J-Dub's back for Oklahoma City. Speaking of Oklahoma City, now the other day I was upset because they got Jared McCain. So, of course, their top pick from last year, Nikola Topic, was out earlier this year. He had the testicular cancer. And here he is in the G League. 7 points and 7 assists in 16 minutes in his first game. I'm just telling you, watch out if he can come up there he adds a whole different element to their offense, not from a scoring standpoint.
We already knew that OKC, like at least in my opinion, I thought OKC was going to be, they were going to be able to run it back very similar to how they played last year because they just paid their young stars and they're all young. And they play well together. They complement each other. I think the fact that they were able to pay all of these guys over $200 million is something about the salary cap I'll never understand. But they got them all paid. They got them, in the building. They're going to get young players. I don't know what the fallout with Philly and Jared McCain was. It just seemed like they didn't really give him a shot. I know he played a few games last year, a handful, 16 to 20 games. And I believe he was injured last year. So I know it's not injuries because you keep Paul George and Embiid around. So I know it's not like injuries as like your line.
Well, I think he just got played out of Philly because they drafted DJ Edgecombe, and he did a lot of what Jared McCain was providing, and he was like to your point the other day. McCain isn't an explosive guy. Like, he doesn't have that first step that's going to kill you.
Light-skinned Kyle Lowry, yeah.
But Edgecombe is going to dunk it on you. He's going to shoot it on you. He's going to lock you down on defense. And so once you just play out of the rotation because you still got, before he got suspended, you got Paul George that you still got to get minutes for. Oubre, so depending on what you're doing with your lineup, and Maxey is back in full swing. So I think he was just the odd man out.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any ill will or anything, but just the odd man out. So last night, I heard this.
Trying to keep him.
So I heard this on the NBA Daily, Mr. Logical. This is the first time in 427 days that Orlando has had both Wagner's, Paolo, and Suggs available for the same game.
What are these guys hurting? Like, what body part are they all hurting? Because it seems like a lot of players are missing a lot of games. The guys in the 80s and 90s just play with whatever injury they had, and now they just walking funny because they just were playing with this meniscus tear and they just kept taping it up. Because it seems like a lot of young guys we talk about there. Garland's always hurt. We know Paul George's history, but like you said,
Garland is different
because players always hurt.
Garland's a little different because
Lonzo Ball's always hurt. LaMelo Ball's always hurt.
Yeah, like Garland's is a toe, so it's a little different. It's just one of those freak things. He had surgery in the off season.
John
and he
Stockton
came back
played like 82 games a year for like 12 years straight.
He did.
I'm pretty sure his toe got bumped.
Yeah, and then because last year it was odd because Franz and Paolo had the same injury. That was the wild part, and it wasn't like an ankle or a shoulder. Injury, right? It was an oblique injury, which is odd that two players on the same team would get that injury. Like Franz had a high ankle sprain earlier this season. Obviously Suggs missed a lot of time last year. His brother, Wagner's brother, tore his ACL. Yeah. And, so like, it's just one of those things. They're just a snake bitten team, like they've just been going through it. So, but now that they're all back together, Paolo should be way past his groin strain now. So now we might get to see the Orlando Magic might get to see the Orlando Magic that I was hoping to see. Yeah, that I was hoping to see. Yeah, what I'm saying? So maybe we'll get that. Scoot Henderson is back, so Blazer fans rejoice. We'll see how that works out for them because I know you're not a big Scoot Henderson guy, but I think that a point guard that can't shoot and isn't really like a pass first point guard, I think that's kind of a difficult combination to have in an NBA where everybody shoots and your point guard has to be able to find all the shooters. It's like a bad combination to have. So how excited are you about the All-Star game this weekend?
Well, I'll be at a 7-on-7 tournament so maybe I'll get to watch some of it. I always liked the All-Star game. I remember a couple years ago, my idea and suggestion. I wish they would enact it. I'm not sure if they. I know they tried in like some level, but just to go get one of these the dunk guys, the guys that dunk on YouTube. They have all these dunk competitions. Have them work with the NBA player and do like a team dunk off. That way, it's like at least entertaining. Because even if the NBA player can't do what the professional dunker can do, if they're teamed up and they both get the points, the crowd gets the entertainment, and then it just goes on until somebody wins. I don't like eliminate. Like I don't see the point of eliminating guys. Like if it's a dunk contest, like yo, we're gonna have 4 rounds. Your best 4 dunks.
Cumulative winner.
Yeah. Wins. So if you get 350,
I like that.
It's because like I want to see dunks. I don't need this tournament style head-to-head matchup. It's like we don't need that.
So this year's participants.
It's not like it's a 3-point contest that takes a long time.
Right. Rookie Carter Bryant from the San Antonio Spurs. Jackson Hayes, 7 feet tall. We'll see how that goes.
Never works. It never works. I know why they do it. It literally never works. Unless you're Dwight Howard, who's dunking on the 12-foot rim.
Keyshawn Johnson, second year with the Miami Heat. Jace Richardson, son of Jason Richardson, rookie for the Orlando Magic.
So we'll see. Jersey on and do a dunk.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm pulling for him. I like stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I want him to do better dunks than his dad did, though, but still win.
No, he had the winning dunk when he went like behind his legs, the behind the leg East Bay dunk over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
So
it's a good run.
So then, in the 3-point contest, you got Damian Lillard.
Has he played?
No. 2-time champion, because he was recovering from an Achilles too. But he's in there. Devin Booker, who also has won a 3-point contest. Con Knipple, the awesome rookie from the Hornets. Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Bobby Portis, and Norm Powell. So what you think of that lineup?
To be an all-star to be in a 3-point contest? No, because Dame Little's in it. Yeah.
No, you don't have to be.
Oh, those guys aren't even 3-point shooters. They're just scorers.
Well,
Portis.
Well, Bobby Portis is 4th in the league in 3-point percentage this year.
It was like 38%.
45.6.
How many does he shoot a game?
I'm not sure.
5.
But that's 45.6. So I guess he earned his way there. I'm not gonna crap on his dream. Do your thing.
He's not a volume 3-point shooter.
So let's see.
He's what's that? 25 threes.
He shoots 4 per game. 4.2 3-pointers a game.
So 2 for 4 one day, 1 for 4 another day, 2 for 2 another day. Yeah, like that. 25 threes. He's out in the first round.
Yeah, let's see who else we got here. Out of who I mentioned, Conker Nipples, number 15. Obviously Dame Lillard hasn't played. Jamal Murray is number 16. And then, I'm not searching.
Round.
Norm Powell is 35th, and then I'm not searching the rest of these dudes.
Yeah.
But of course the All-Star game is going
a lot
to
of
the
17s.
USA. Yeah, USA.
A lot of first round 17s, and Dame Lillard hit 18.
USA versus the world this year. Same format as last year with the 3 teams, and then the championship game. We'll see how that goes. If all things go the way that I think they'll play out, the world should win pretty easily.
If they put effort into it. That's the only problem with the NBA All. It's like those runs I see at Lifetime Fitness that guys are posting to their social media. That's easily what you can get in the All-Star game. You guys are sweating. It just they're not. I don't think they're double teaming. They're not doing a lot of pick and roll. It's a lot of you working on your handles, you're working on your shot, you're working on your, coming off pin down. Like guys are working on stuff and it's active and it looks like a fun practice. Whereas the NBA All-Star game, it's like dudes just start walking.
Yeah.
Especially that one that was in Utah. That one. That was probably they'll never do it there again.
So listen to this.
I was there. I was driving downtown. It was no traffic cones. There's no people. It was cold, but it wasn't like crazy. It was like Utah cold, but there was nothing going on outside. There was no lights. There was no music. There was nothing. I drove like right past the stadium. There was no traffic. There's literally no traffic.
Yeah.
You've been to Utah. It's a lot of lanes, but there was no traffic downtown. Like we got off of I-15, drove right past the stadium when the game was like the 3-point game that contest was going on. Nothing. No traffic. Left, drove around downtown, no traffic. I was like, this is boring.
Yeah, so listen to this. So the world team is going to be one team, 8 players. You ready for this?
Yes.
Giannis, SGA, Luka, Wemby, Jokic, Pascal Siakam, Jamal Murray, and Denny Avdia. Now, of course, Giannis is hurt, so they're probably going to have to find a replacement for him. But that's a crazy lineup. That's a crazy squad.
SGA is not going to play.
Okay.
Says injured, will not play. Shingun's in for him.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. I'ma oh yeah, he's Dominican. Mr. I'ma call the referee a bitch. Shingun, getting in trouble for that.
To be honest, it sucks. Just apologize and then you move on.
Yeah.
This is a tough squad because you have like the freak athlete in Giannis and Wemby.
Well, Giannis, I don't think is going to play.
Yeah, Giannis probably not going to play.
Yeah, Giannis ain't going to play. Yeah.
Pascal Siakam just
long, lanky. Yeah.
He won't go out there and try to showboat. Karl-Anthony Towns, for what he's worth, he's a 7-foot shooter.
Right.
Jamal Murray,
first time All-Star.
Proud of him. Win a championship before you make an All-Star game. It's crazy. Obviously, Luka does what Luka does. I mean, is it? Yeah. I'm gonna take the. I'm gonna take the USA Stars.
Well, I guess So you got Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Kate Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, Steph, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Johnson, Norman Powell.
They're broken into 2 teams.
Yeah, they're broken into the teams. Yeah.
Stars and Stripes.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
So the Stars.
If I wasn't going to watch before,
USA 250. Scotty Barnes. So this is Stars. I got Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Anthony Edwards, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Johnson, Tyrese Maxey, coached by JB Bickerstaff. Stripes would be a killer team if.
What's that? So you got what? Anthony Edwards, LeBron.
You got Jaylen Brown, Brunson, Steph Curry says injured, will not play. KD, Brandon Ingram, LeBron, Kawhi, Donovan Mitchell, Norman Powell. So I mean, I think it's even. I know the world players have. I think it's even. I don't think it's as
lopsided as
you would think, especially with SGA not playing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see.
Interesting, but like I said, it's all about effort. If these guys are going to put in the effort, and then the
What's the
local
point?
college basketball team can go out there and win if no one's going to put any effort into it.
Hey, Mr. Logical Slick dissing the dream team right now.
Right.
Adam Silver said that the NBA is going to talk expansion again and take a vote this summer. That was per Yahoo Sports. So is this finally it, Mr. Logical? Are we finally getting the Supersonics back?
I mean, if it's expansion along with realignment, I think it makes sense. Like I just feel like New Orleans and Memphis can just go to the East. You add a Vegas team, you add Seattle, that balances out the numbers. You get the basketball city back, and then you get another major, focal point, popular city. They have the Raiders, they got the Aces, they got the Vegas Knights, they have the Strip. Like they have all the things that says they got the A's. Well, I don't know what the name was going to be because I think there's probably some kind of litigation over the trademark. But they have every other team, the teams there winning championships. The Raiders aren't, but they have a great stadium. And, just throwing the basketball team there just makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think the Aces have really helped that out.
Yeah, you have this, like I said, the main thing is with Vegas, you have the space. And if you don't have the space, they'll implode a casino and make space. So whatever casino's not doing well, when you hear about this expansion, circus, just be wary that you might get imploded and they're going to put an NBA arena right there. Just
be
cautious.
Wherever they have this vote, I need Sean Kemp and Gary Payton outside.
Bye.
I need them outside, ready to run up in the building at any moment to let the world know or to let the NBA guys know that, hey, we won it. And and it's funny, right? Like we were having this conversation a little while ago, and
I think we were first.
You were saying that the Supersonics aren't necessarily or shouldn't necessarily be a guaranteed thing.
Well, the problem is the NBA doesn't really promote West Coast games, and just by the nature of the time zone, it's a problem. Because we've done this show that starts at 8:45, and I've had a game on. Whatever game. Detroit versus Cleveland. That's on. We do the show. We wrap up about 10:15, 10:20, give or take. And
that shit still ain't start.
And 40 minutes later, Golden State versus Portland comes on. I'm like, dog, it's 11:10. Like, if you want people on the East Coast to watch the game and you get these ratings up, you gotta start it by 10. Give me the first half, 10 to 11. I can still get to sleep by 11, CPAP on. I'm up by 6.
But see, Vegas is in that time zone too.
But Vegas is at least like, I think for Vegas, they'll do more for Vegas. Very similar to how like they always have good players in LA. Phoenix always goes after the good players. Vegas will just kind of have that allure and the money. And like, we talked about, people circumventing the salary cap, doing different little things. I think Vegas is one of those places where you can just have a penthouse for the season. I think they can get, like a James Harden caliber personality to come to that team and stay there. I'm not saying that they were going to just circumvent the salary cap, but you see other cities that are popular cities that seem to always be paying a lot of guys a lot of money, but yet Phoenix always gets Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Booker. They have all these big names, all these guys who play on Olympic teams or on, a select few teams. They're going to have to do the same thing with Seattle. Or like I said, the game has to start. You got to tip off at 9:50.
I would be really interested to see because, going off of the previous expansion with the Raptors and I forgot who the other team was. Vancouver Grizzlies. Thank you. You got to protect 8 players. So we've been talking about how deeper the talent pool is nowadays. So I think that not that, an expansion team is going to make the playoffs or whatever, but But I think you can see the expansion teams probably start out a little bit better than we're used to.
Depends on how they want to shake it up. I personally think you should have to put more names into the hat. I
Okay.
think I think you're I think as a team, you should be able to protect your first and second highest paid player. Everybody else should be fair game.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think, and honestly, like if I think more about it, I think that should be a little bit more prevalent because the draft picks aren't turning teams around. I think you should be able to trade your draft pick to another team for their third best player. So if you get the number one pick and you're the Jazz, you
I
get the
know, but
number
at
one
this
pick.
point, you're advocating for Cooper Flag being in the pool.
Hey, I mean, listen, the guy's still going to be in the NBA. The problem is all the
Yeah, but I don't
players.
want to lose him if I'm Dallas.
Well, you're going to get a number one draft pick overall. If you have a good enough team, you'll develop them. The problem is the teams at the bottom don't get an opportunity to develop their guys. Look at the Wizards. The Wizards made all these trades and they're sitting 80. And they're going to have Trae Young. And then next year, they're probably going to, for me to pull up the standings again, they're probably looking at Eastern Conference. So the Wizards right now, they're looking at a top, worst case scenario, top 5 pick. Depends on how the
lottery balls, yeah.
So if I'm the Wizards, so 1 through 5, the teams 1 through 5 get the option of trading that pick for another team's third best player. Granted, it has to be some stipulations, but it's like, hey, we want to give you the third overall pick. We need a guy that's going to help us turn around because the rookies aren't helping teams turn around anymore. It's not like how it used to be, where you get a guy that did 4 years of college. Now the guys who are doing 4, 5, 6 years in college are still averaging 8 or 9 points in college. They're not that good. So your freshman phenoms, the guy from Kansas that seems to be pseudo load managing, AJ out of BYU. You ran off a couple other names.
Yeah, Darren Peterson, Nate Mint, Cameron Boozer, Darius Acuff.
If I'm Boston, who's
Tyler
my
Huff.
third guy? Who's my third best player? Derek
Boston?
White?
Derek White, yeah.
Okay, so I'm the Wizards. Do I want Derek White? Granted, he was probably a couple years younger. Okay, so let's go to the Knicks. Do I want Anunoby
or Mikal Bridges, one of the two?
Or do I want a rookie? And if you're New York, you're like, well, we got a solid team. If we can get a top 5 rookie, we can keep our thing going. And then this other team really gets to jumpstart there because you're not going to jumpstart with Ron Harper Jr. You're not going to jumpstart with Ace Bailey in Utah because it's like you can't give them the keys because the teams are just kind of just. The Spurs have like 4 rookie of the year like in the row. Like they're about to win 4. Like so it's like you can't. Like what am I doing with that?
I just caught on to the fact that you said Ron Harper Jr. There's already a Ron Harper Jr. This is Dylan Harper.
Dylan Harper, yeah.
But shout out to my guy Jack.
I used to be good with names. I'm bad with names. It's the age.
Shout out to my guy Jack, but that might be the most radicalist thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's like, listen, it's off the top of the dome because I was thinking about it earlier when we talked about expansion. I just was like thinking like off the dome. Like I said, I was working on my project early, so I couldn't like really dig deep into it. But I was like, it has to be a better way because in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers got Bryce Young a couple years ago.
Right.
And he is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. And then you get other young talent and they grow together. They give you a new schedule. They give you like an easier schedule to work in your young guys, and it's up to you to figure it out. The Major League Baseball, you just have to build your farm program, but you have that. Like the G League isn't used the way the MLB uses their farm league. And the NFL has college football as their farm league that they're building players with. So everyone has something that's creating players that are ready to join the league. Hell, the college football have the rule you got to be 3 years removed from high school because you're not physically ready to be in the NFL. So like every other league has a plan built in place to where they're ready to go. Hell, the WNBA, they get their draft picks fresh out of the tournament. Their season starts in 3 months. Like they're ready to go.
Well,
and they play 4
years
of college basketball.
Yeah. We'll see if there's a WNBA season this year.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. I just think you need a radical idea because I'm sick of seeing Brooklyn, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Hawks, the Pelicans, the Jazz, all these teams every single year in the bottom 6. And then they say, oh, it's going to be this new hope. And they get this rookie and it doesn't work out. And they trade the rookie. And then the rookie's in the G League and his career's over. Like, let me get a shot to go to a good team. Like, just because I'm good doesn't mean I have to go to a bad team that's not structured properly. And now I look bad because I can't turn around 14. I can't turn around 18 and 64.
All I know is
20 years old.
Shout out to the Supersonics. But I don't do this very often. But let me get into my conspiracy bag for a minute.
Here we go. Let's hear it.
So, we were talking a couple last year, actually, about Dumont and the guys taking over the Dallas Mavericks. They had their Vegas ties. If Texas doesn't pass the casino laws and all that, are they going to potentially try to move to Vegas? And then I saw the report this morning that Mark Cuban is trying to get a group together to buy the team back because, he still has a stake in the team. He's just not the majority owner. Yeah, he's just not the majority owner. So allegedly trying to get a group together to become the majority owner again. Does that mean he found out they're trying to go to Vegas?
I think he's just upset with what you're destroying what I built.
Okay.
We talked about this before, shout out to Colin Cowherd, but he was saying how when a father builds a business or the parents build a business and it's successful and then the kids live off that business and then they pass the business down to the kids, it fails because it's they weren't there shooting in the gym. They weren't there for the grind when you didn't know if you were going to make payroll. And now everything's flowing and you drove your Beamer to your, your high school football games and stuff like that. You don't know about that life when you were struggling. I think these guys who took over the Mavericks just saw dollar signs and they saw maybe this idea and didn't realize, no, you got to keep the team together. You got to make decisions that keep the team healthy. There's no way a team that was in the NBA Finals 2 years ago should be out here scraping the bottom of the barrel when the players they had on that team are healthy playing other places. It would be different if it was everybody's gone or contracts expired or we had a falling out with the coach or there was a scandal and you had to retool your team and, it got sold in the midst of a scandal like the Clippers did. Steve Ballmer hit the ground running. He got Kawhi, Paul George. A couple of years later, he got Russ. He got the new stadium. He was going. He was I'm hitting the ground running. I'm trying to make things happen. If they're really just trying to plot to try to move this team to Vegas, that's just goofy. It's just a goofy move because it's I get it. Just go buy a team that's already in Vegas. Just go invest there. You have options. Just go buy the hockey team. Sell the basketball team. Go buy the hockey team. Put them in an ice sheet connected to a casino. They already exist. I've been to Vegas. Granted, it was a small ice sheet. I'm pretty sure they can build a bigger one, but I've been in a hotel, Fiesta Rancho, and it has an ice sheet in it. So it is.
Or if the Mavs move to Vegas, then that frees up the other expansion spot.
I don't want a team that currently exists to move, change their name, move the records, and then try to rebuild a replica in their place. Just put a new team in Las Vegas.
Mr. Logical says no to the Tennessee Titans.
I thought the Baltimore Ravens and then bringing the Cleveland Browns back, I thought that was weird. Even though back in the day, I was like, that's odd. Like, where the
Yeah.
records go? Like, how does that happen? Like, how does somebody just move a football team? I mean, multiple times in the middle of the night and all these crazy things that these owners did. So keep it simple, logically.
Yeah.
Put a new team in Vegas, new team in Seattle, move Memphis and New Orleans to the east, and ride with that. Dallas, just if I'm the commissioner, I'm sitting down with these people like, yo, are y'all really trying to sabotage a great franchise, a pretty, storied franchise, just so you can make a few extra billions in Nevada?
I've always liked Minnesota to the east.
I'm never really quite sure where it is on the if you put a line. I'm looking at Chicago, and I'm just thinking New Orleans. I know New Orleans at a minimum is east of Texas, and so is Tennessee. So,
well, I figure
like Minnesota in the west.
Well, I figure like this is just I feel like so New Orleans, like being in Louisiana, it seems right to have that next to Texas teams, though. Whereas Minnesota, when I think of basketball, I mean football at least, you have the Vikings in the division with the Bears and the Packers and the Lions. So if you move Minnesota to the east, you put them with the Bulls, the Bucks, the Pacers. Like it just kind of like, and it makes me think of the Big Ten too.
So there's Michigan.
Well, Michigan's on Eastern time. I know that, but Minnesota's on Central.
See, Minnesota's further west,
but it's north enough too. Yeah,
it's further west than Memphis and New Orleans, and like I like Minneapolis. I like the fact that I think that keeps them like viable in the TV space because they have a superstar. I just always felt like Memphis and New Orleans being in the West just was a stretch. I mean, they're further west than Chicago, but it's like I figure if you did any expansion, those would be my first two, because when you think down south, even though part of it's in Central Time Zone, you still think east. Like you think East Coast down south, like it's all like one thing. Like when you think Midwest and West, like you think Midwest Mountain, California, all that runs together. Like everything west of the Mississippi is the West Coast, and everything east is east, even though like it's down south. I just think that, and New Orleans and Memphis were like they had their run where they weren't great, and I was like, well, at least for the ratings. And then especially when they got Zion, I was like, this is definitely the time to move into the East Coast, because that way you can get that Zion versus a Knicks 4 times a year and get a couple of games. Because I thought he was going to be like a marquee star.
Right.
I know he's a talented basketball player, but I thought he was going to be like Steph Curry, LeBron, James Harden, Paul George. Like, oh, they're here. Ticket prices are 20% higher. Like I thought he was going to be that kind of a player. So I figured you couldn't give New York the number 1 pick. At least get him on the East Coast where he's playing that schedule, where he's playing in Chicago, playing in New York, playing in Philly, playing in Brooklyn. So I thought that was just an easy. It's from a marketing standpoint. I thought it just writes itself. But yeah, Dallas to Vegas off of sabotage. Yeah, I'm not.
I'll take Ant playing in New York like 8 times a year, but and other expansion, let's talk about college football. And, I learned this week that it's not bison, it's bison. Don't be disrespectful. Yeah, don't be disrespectful. Bison. So North Dakota State, the crown jewel of FCS, has decided that they're going to play FBS football. They got invited by the Mountain West. They're paying a total of $17 million for this move. So $5 million to leave FCS, and then a $12 million entry fee into the Mountain West. And this is football only. Also this year, joining football only, UTEP and Northern Illinois. So there you go. Now, with that being said, the Fargo Dome only sits about 19,000 people. So something's going to have to change there, obviously, if they want to go big time football. Sacramento State, who has been trying to make these declarations of FBS, this is the funny part, they've reached out to the MAC. And they want to give the MAC $10 million to join the MAC. So, yes, that is Sacramento, California, going to Muncie, Indiana, Athens, Ohio, Ypsilanti, I think that's how you say it. Yeah. All that, Kalamazoo, but yeah, so college football isn't serious. But to make Mr. Logical mad, of course,
Sacramento State.
Yeah.
That's because Sacramento State, they got like an influx of money over the last couple of years.
They were trying to join the Pac-12. Pac-12 said no.
Which is silly to me.
And Mountain West said no as well.
What's their stadium capacity? Is it not big enough? Are they just too
flat? No, they're building. Money? They're building, and they have no real history, like, for lack of better words, heritage. So obviously North Dakota State comes with all the fanfare. Actually their stadium is bigger than North Dakota State's 21,195, but they're building another stadium to try to enhance that. There's been other schools over the years. Austin P has made a declaration that they want to join FBS. A lot of MAC fans they've been wanting Illinois State. Tarleton State down here in Stephenville, Texas. They beat Army, by the way, this year. But
team.
Yeah, but they're flirting with Conference USA. UC Davis has put other sports in the Mountain West, so people think that at some point they're going to make the leap to FBS and join the Mountain West. But of course, me being 2-5, I'm like, what's up with these Montana schools? Because I've been wanting Montana FBS for a long time.
Well, now Montana going to run the FCS, and that's how they're going to get their plaques on the wall?
I don't know, but if I'm Montana, I'm thinking about it like the FBS is dying, because we've seen, like, just think about all the teams that have left FCS over the years. Your Boise States, your Appalachian States, North Dakota State's gone now. James Madison, Old Dominion, like, these are teams that were the face of FCS,
So you get like schools like you go down to Virginia, Newport News, you get Christopher Newport, you can get like now you get Illinois State that went on there and probably will run in the playoffs this year. Maybe they get a few championships, because for me, I look at it like this. I don't think everyone has to be on this $18 million a year conference, Big 10, Big 12. I think you could play good football. You could be a good coach, good player, good athletic director, have a good degree program, have a good football program that recruits good players and develops them, and you can have great seasons at any level. I don't think you have to be on this FBS level. And I understand that North Dakota State, maybe they're trying to recruit more NFL prospects, because they have churned out a handful, especially their offensive line. We know it's a couple quarterbacks, Carson Wentz, Trey Lance. So offensive side of the ball, they've been, capable of doing that. Offensive line, definitely. So maybe they want to recruit more. Maybe they want to recruit more of that region. So Montana might lose some of their players. So, like, I can just go over to North Dakota and I can play Mountain West schedule. My parents can see me on TV more. I get it. You don't have to travel all these small schools. Maybe they were traveling by bus. Maybe this affords them a plane or a different kind of access. I understand that piece. But you have to be like North Dakota State was like, there was like groups of seniors that always played in a championship game. It's like for years, it's like if you went there and you were there for 4 years, at least one time you played for the national championship, if not won it, for like the last 10, 15 years. Like Carson Wentz, I think he played in 2 or 3 or 1, 2 and played in 3 or something like that. So I believe that's the piece that I'm not sure why you will leave behind. But unless you feel like we can create NFL ready players and develop our program and move it from a 19,000 seat stadium to 60,000 or 40,000, 60,000.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that if you're North Dakota State, you've won 10 out of the last 15 national titles in FCS.
Yeah.
So I understand, hey, let's challenge ourselves. Let's make our program better. Let's get a bigger profile because we've done everything that we can do here. Now we're at the point where if we lose, it's a disappointment or a failure because, now all people expect a championship. So let's move up, challenge ourselves, and try to be better. Now, of course, to piss Mr. Logical off,
True.
They can't go for a bowl game for 2 years. They can't win the conference title. And they can make a bowl game if it was a year like this year where there's not enough 6-6 teams. So you had all these, Florida State, Baylor, Kansas, and Rutgers turning down bowl games, and other schools too turning down bowl games. So North Dakota State would get a bowl game in that scenario.
That rule doesn't make any sense because the NCAA is acting as if teams are just jumping out the window to play in these bowl games. Like Northern Illinois isn't going to be upset if a 7-5 team that came from FCS that goes 7-5 in FBS gets a bowl game over them if they go 6-6. It's not we're going to write a complaint letter like, oh, this team just joined. Like, yeah, this team just joined and they did better than you. Like, no one's going to do that.
So from what I was reading, basically that rule only exists. And I don't know if a team has ever done this before, but the rule only exists because they don't want you, I guess, to feel like you have this great team. So I'm going to jump up to FBS. And then everybody graduated, and now I'm going to jump back down to FCS. So I guess it's a way to show the commitment. Because I remember back in 2004 or so, Florida A&M, HBCU, great school, was on their way. It wasn't FBS at the time. I think they were still Division 1A at that time. But they were going to make this move up to FBS. And then when it was time, oh my God, we don't have any money. We don't have the money to be able to make this move. Yeah. So it was just kind of one of those things where they kind of fell flat on their face. But, as an old Big East guy, I have to admit, I've been waiting for Villanova to get off their asses and come up to FBS. But I digress. But Mr. Logical, last thing before we get out of here.
Yeah.
We are down to one undefeated team left in college basketball. Last night, the Kansas Jayhawks, without Darren Peterson, knocked off the Arizona Wildcats. So that leaves Miami, Ohio, from the back as the only undefeated team standing. Kind of hope they finish the season undefeated, just for the hoopla. I mean, they're not going to go very far in the tournament, I think, but still, it'll be nice hoopla.
I mean, you never know. You never know if, that could happen.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they're Wichita State, right?
And people will hate it. They'll like it in the first round. They'll like it a little less in the second round. But if they're still around the Sweet 16, they're going to be like, let's get this team out of here because we never heard of them before. Let's get a team we've heard of in here. College basketball, I know you're itching for your March Madness. You probably already got your 68 team bubble, and if they were go to 96, you probably got your 96 ranked 1 through 96. Like I said, I like the young talent that's in college basketball. I still don't like the G League guys coming back. They got to fix it. They got to sit down. Calipari has a lot of ideas on how to fix the transfer portal and all these guys coming back to school from like guys playing multiple games, like the young boy that went to Sierra Canyon with he was in the league for a while. He's going back to college. I think Dwayne Wade's son, he's trying to go back to college. It's like, Joe, just go to Italy.
I saw the guy in Alabama finally got denied after he played a couple games, but the judge ruled that he can't play, so that's over with for him.
Once you take a picture in an NBA uniform after they sign you, after you show up and sign insurance forms, because at a minimum, for you to practice, you got to sign insurance forms so they don't get sued and you don't get sued, and it protects you and it protects the team. Once you do that for an NBA team, then you're no longer allowed to come back and play college basketball. You can go get your degree.
Yeah.
You can come be an adjunct professor, but you're not going to come back out here 24 years old and play against and take spots from guys who graduated from high school and trying to make it through and get their opportunity. You have your opportunity. Grab it with both hands while you're in the league. If there's a guy ahead of you, beat him out. Don't let this guy beat you out and then you drop back down to college and take somebody else's spot. That's just like, no.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't make the freshman basketball team, you don't just say, Dad's put me back in 8th grade so I can dominate some more. Like, no. You just sit on the bench.
And I also want to give a shout out to Elijah Arenas. You know, he had that unfortunate situation where he got stuck in the car, last year. We thought that it was going to be a lot more bleak than it ended up being. So thank God that it didn't end that way. But he hit the game with his shot against Penn State the other day, and it just made me smile, just to see after what he went through to have that moment. You love to see stuff like that. Sports is poetry. And we got an upset.
Gilbert did a good job. Gilbert did a good job of him because he was like, listen, I need you to play on a team where you got to be the man every single day. So you know what it feels. So
when you get to the NBA,
if you don't want to go 12 and 20 in high school, then you need to make sure you help this team win.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, welcome to the bench, Cayenne Anthony. You know what I mean?
Yo, basketball coaches are fickle.
Well, he's one of the most inefficient players in the country, but he's not even hitting shots to where you could go, like say for example, and obviously this is a big, I'm not trying to make the comparison, but like you got a guy like Kobe, right? He'll go 10 for 29. But he go get to the free throw line and still end up with 30 points. You know what I'm saying? Cayenne is more like, I'm going to go 3 for 16. And I don't got a lot of rebounds.
They're all 16 jump shots.
I ain't really got no assist. You know what I mean? So, but Wisconsin right now is 90-87 with about 14 seconds left in overtime against the number 8 Illinois Fighting Illini. So, the madness is coming, y'all. Keep trying to tell you. You better get ready. Start watching these games and get on it because this year is going to be crazy. I think we got some locks, as far as you would think that Duke should go pretty far. But, of course, they lost on the buzzer beater the other night to North Carolina. Then you got
rivalry games.
Houston, looking great. Florida has dropped a little bit, but not so much. Michigan is out here putting the boots on people. You know what I mean?
They're back at it.
No, they back at it. You know what I'm saying? Because, they brought in Dusty May, who was the head coach at Florida Atlantic when they made the Final Four. This is his second year there. And they got Yaxel Luxembourg from UAB in the transfer portal. He's probably going to be a top 10 to top 14 NBA draft pick. So, yeah, Michigan's rolling. It would not be surprising to me if Michigan was your national champion. I picked them to make the Final Four preseason, but they might be the favorite by the time we get there. Houston is still there. You got your usual suspects. UConn is back, looking like they're supposed to. Hey, college basketball, man. But he is, UNC. But he is the one and only world-renowned, world-famous, cool, calm, and collected, born in Texas, raised in VA, representing New Jerusalem with his, gear in the closet, even though Rutgers don't never make the NCAA tournament.
Listen,
He is Mr. Logical.
Send that off for Rutgers.
Don't bring feelings to a fact fight.
Don't do it.
And then, of course, down here in the Alamo, it's your unorthodox statistician going left so much you thought I was southpaw, ducking the rush in ways that Drake May could only dream of. I go by the name of 2-5, and I do believe in Joe Hendry. We'll be back on Friday with more around the association and seeing what else is going on in the sports world. We love y'all. We are wherever you get your podcasts. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things, do all the good things. Liquid Death in hand. Sports Reports is ordered. Out.
Hey. Sports reports, no gimmicks, no clowns. 2-5, Mr. Logical, we run this town. Real talk only, no chasing, no doubt. From the east to the west, it's the order we shout. Mic check, lights flash, game time, stay ready. 2 vets in the zone, keep the pressure real heavy. Big hits, big plays, yeah, we breaking it down. Truth rings in your speakers, every word is the crown. From the north side hustle to that southern flame. Midwest grind, west coast of the game. Sports talk kings, yeah, we wear that crown.